My name's Chris Floyd. Our organization was the Big Brothers Big Sisters. Our team members were Kate Bogart, Daniel Dickens, Chris Floyd, Gunnar Gracia, Torrez, and Cassidy McKee. The Big Brothers Big Sisters, they've been around for more than 100 years. They serve the community as mentors for younger boys and girls. They hang out with them, they mentor them, they teach them, they'll hang out with them at school, they will take them out on just fun events, just really get to know the kids and really invest in their lives in a really positive way. The Big Brothers Big Sisters organization, their vision is that all children achieve success in life, and their mission statement is to provide children facing adversity with strong and enduring, professionally supported, one-to-one relationships that change their lives for the better forever. Big Brothers Big Sisters organization, their vision is that all children achieve success in life, and their mission statement is to provide children facing adversity with strong and enduring, professionally supported, one-to-one relationships that change their lives for the better forever.
So at Big Brothers Big Sisters, we learned a lot about the planning at the organization. A broad definition of planning would be to identify and select appropriate goals and courses of actions. So what we learned at Big Brothers Big Sisters, they did planning really well. First, they work on matching kids with mentors, and they do this through a really in-depth background check where they not only look at the volunteer's background, but they also look at their interests and what they might have in common with the children. But not only do they look at that, they also do it by geographical region, mapping out different areas so that the volunteer is never too far away from the child. But not only do they do the mentorship program, but they have all sorts of other programs they plan out, like high school programs where they even just write letters to the kids, and as well as many other parts where they go after school and take them to events. And we got to help out with a huge event, the Big Black Tie Ball, where we saw a ton of planning go into the biggest fundraiser of the year. So something we learned that they could improve on was when we first started volunteering there, they said that they wanted us to help with their merchandise. They were going to create a merch kit for volunteers so that they could get cute t-shirts that matched their bigs and littles. But as we kept volunteering, they never gave us a clear timeline or anything like that to figure out who we were working with and what was going to happen. So even though we understood that they clearly know how to plan, we quickly learned that though they knew a lot about the planning and matching process, they needed to work more on the other activities like their merchandise. So our recommendation to Big Brothers Big Sisters would be to just have a better line of communication with volunteers for activities other than their mentorship program. They obviously know how to communicate well with the mentors and the children with what they're supposed to be doing and giving them activities and suggestions, but when it came to us as non-traditional volunteers for the organization, they didn't seem to know how to communicate well with us. They just didn't give us somebody to contact, and we just weren't sure how to help, especially with the merchandise. We didn't know exactly what we were doing, we didn't know who to contact, and we just ended up waiting for a while, and we didn't know.
So organization for Big Brothers Big Sisters is also done really well. A broad definition of organization is structuring working relationships in a way that allows organizational members to work together to achieve organizational goals. So how this is done at Big Brothers Big Sisters is they have several different regions all over the United States, and actually the national headquarters is in Irving as well, so that's really cool. But the Lone Star region encompasses DFW, Waco, Wichita Falls, West Central, all the way down to Houston. So that's one of their regions. They also have several different opportunities to get involved, from community-based, school-based, site-based, and generation-based mentors. In addition to that, staff members from every region come to the national headquarters in Irving every year, twice a year, just to have a meeting to refocus their goals for the year. Something that we thought that they could improve on is, as I mentioned, the Houston area is run here in Dallas, which is a really far distance, and so we thought that it might be better for them to have a larger office in Houston so that they wouldn't have to encompass all of that distance and trying to place a mentor with a match through all of that distance. So our recommendation for Big Brothers Big Sisters for their organizational part is maybe putting more offices in the regions that are kind of far away. So for example, in Fort Worth, the office that's really close here, there's almost no wait time for mentors to be matched with a child, but the wait time for a mentor in Houston is almost 6 months, just because it's a lot harder to work with that many distance between them. So we thought that if we put more offices, more well-known offices, they would be able to fix that a lot better.
The leadership in the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization was actually done really, really well. A broad definition of leading would be articulating a clear vision and energizing and enabling organizational members so that they understand the part they play in achieving organizational goals. The way Big Brothers Big Sisters achieved this was that their leadership there is incredibly organized. CEO and President Rob Roby leads an executive board of over 30 people with a chairman, chair of audit committee, vice chairman, and a chair of board development. The board seems sincerely invested in the organization and really does seek to improve the lives of the littles by placing them with bigs that will influence them. And I guess something they could improve on would be the hardest part of leadership is communicating vision from the top all the way down to the bottom in a really clear way. The passion and vision has been clearly communicated, but sometimes there is a lack of communication in the functional areas. Our recommendation for them would be to clarify the specifics with the employees and the volunteers. Because our biggest problem was communication. We didn't really know who to talk to most of the time. Yeah, their higher-ups were really, really good and really, really organized and great leaders, but when it came down to it, the volunteers, we were kind of left in the dark a little bit. So that was our biggest recommendation to the Big Brothers Big Sisters. But other than that, our recommendation for the Big Brothers Big Sisters would be to clarify specifics with employees and volunteers more. When our group was supposed to sell merchandise, the leadership in charge of the products was unclear about a start or an end date, and communication was poor. Because of this, we were actually never able to even help with that project. The enabling part of leadership is the thing that might need some fine-tuning.
So the final part of the 4 parts of management is controlling. And we actually learned Big Brothers Big Sisters has a fantastic process for controlling and leading, organizing, and planning. So the broad overview of controlling is to evaluate how well an organization is achieving its goals and taking action to maintain or improve performance. So we actually were able to meet with the VP of Programs, Michael O'Teeter, who was essentially a middle manager for the organization, and he would help the kids and volunteers at Big Brothers Big Sisters work with the other departments. We had a really great sit-down meeting with him where he explained all the ins and outs of Big Brothers Big Sisters and even discussed their 5-year plan where they meet with the committee, and it's a big deal, and they all go through this 5-year plan so they all have the same vision for where the organization is going and what they all can do. And so using this 5-year plan helps Big Brothers Big Sisters judge effectively and make their decisions based on it. So something they could improve on that we definitely noticed was even though they were great at controlling the organization, they were really good at trying to keep employees happy. So they do a lot of virtual work where they let employees work from home so that they don't have to come into the office as much. And even though at first we thought that was such a great idea, so that it made the employees happier, definitely, but it didn't seem like as much work was getting done, which is a big problem with virtual work and telecommuting. But part of the problem we noticed was when we try to contact somebody, we'd hear, oh, well, they're not at the office today, they're working from home, just try their email, or we just had trouble contacting them. And even though technology is fantastic for making new ways work, but we had lots of issues with technological difficulties. One of our other meetings with leadership was with April, and we met with her she's an associate vice president at Big Brothers Big Sisters, and so she was really helpful and wanted to talk to us, but when we first started meeting with her, it couldn't work. The technology wasn't working for us, and they had to try calling her on the iPhone because we could only see her picture and we couldn't hear her. So we had the computers going and iPhones, and it was insane. And so part of the problem in the controlling process is that they rely a little bit too much on technology and for their workers to honestly work from home, which we noticed with some of their issues. So one of our favorite parts about working with Big Brothers Big Sisters is that they actually let us volunteer at the Big Black Tie Ball this fall. And it was so much fun to see all the people. We even got to dress up and see everything that went on. Cassidy and I worked at the beauty section and got to help with the silent auction, and Chris worked at
I worked at the art section, so all of the paintings and the photography section, all just the portraits and stuff like that. I oversaw all of those portions of the auction, and we all just got to be part of a silent auction, which I'd never done before, which I thought was
Yeah.
really cool. It was a lot of fun.
It was really interesting to see all the different pieces, whether it was jewelry or whether it was artwork or like sports memorabilia that they brought in. It was cool to think of how they got in that and all the planning that must have gone in before that, and then ultimately the success that came out of it. I know it was a really successful night for Big Brothers Big Sisters as a fundraiser opportunity, and really cool to see how the organization was able to bring in funds for that way.
And we were actually part of the control process at the organization because we were monitoring the tables. Even though we got to help with the silent auction, our true job was to be table monitors to make sure that none of the auction items walked off or anything like that. And Big Brothers Big Sisters is a fantastic organization. They even treated us really well. One of the best meals I'd ever had before that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was such a fun evening.
So in conclusion, it was an honor and a pleasure to work with Big Brothers Big Sisters. When we visited the headquarters, every single person that we met was so friendly and so interested in telling us all about the organization and all the work that they do there. The passion is so contagious. We were actually even able to meet with the COO. He stopped and talked to us about the organization and all his work there, and that was a really cool opportunity for us. It was so awesome to see that passion and that energy come to life in the Big Brothers Big Sisters Big Black Tie Ball, which we got to serve at earlier in November. It was really cool to see all 4 parts of management, planning, organizing, leading, and controlling come together for one fun event that really brought a lot to the company. Big Brothers Big Sisters is doing a really wonderful thing for the community and around the nation, and any issues that we did find are so minute that it was really cool to see that. Ultimately, Big Brothers Big Sisters is an organization that is innovative in technology, expanding in the business sense, and shaping the lives of so many people.